Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
All year.
Number 22, resolution relative to relocating the polling place for the 9th Ward of the 2nd Aldermanic District from the McCarty Park Pavilion to the West Allis Senior Center for the spring 2020 primary and general elections.
So move.
Second.
You all read that there's construction going on,
Yes.
so you know why,
No, there's not construction going on in McCarty Park, is there?
yeah,
Yes,
Yes.
There is?
sort of
Yeah.
electrical work.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Modeling, I
And
can't.
they wouldn't have it done by the primary,
Actually,
so,
it's a lousy place to vote anyway.
They gotta walk.
It really is. It's a long walk for
Is it?
elderly.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're going to put it, yeah.
but they indicated that, you indicated that
It's always
it would
lousy weather.
revert back to that location once the construction would be over.
The ones I tagged to move
Yeah,
Right, yes,
through our discussion, we decided.
very good. So that's the
let's
reason.
see how it works
So-
out.
So when moved and seconded, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 23, reappointments to the West Allis Public Beautification Committee, Judy Heddle, Mary Johnson, Christina Lund, Robin Kidd, and Linda Taylor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 24, reappointments of Nathan Keisko and Sagar Talani as a member of the West Allis Capital Improvement Committee.
Move approval.
Second.
These are reappointments, so it's been moved and second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Then number 25, we have the reappointment of Rick Bassler and Kara Whitty as members of the West Allis Fair Housing Board.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 26, we have reappointments of Alderperson Kevin Haas and Vincent Vitale.
We decided I'd be very cautious, man.
As members of the
approval.
City of West Allis Capital Improvement Committee.
Second. What? Tom, glad you say.
Is
I'll
there
second it.
Second.
moved and seconded? Discussion regarding these two gentlemen?
Do we really have time for that?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, number 27 is a resolution that has come back regarding a demand to impose incarceration and longer terms of incarceration for criminals whose actions endanger the safety of West Allis citizens. I don't know if all of you have read the resolution. I would like to just read a couple paragraphs of the resolution for those who probably haven't read it in its entirety. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of West Allis demands that the Wisconsin legislature enact harsher penalties for individuals, especially repeat offenders who commit crimes that endanger life and bodily security, public health and safety, and property. The second paragraph is be it further resolved that the City of West Allis demands that the Milwaukee County court system impose incarceration and longer terms of incarceration for individuals, especially repeat offenders who endanger West Allis citizens in order to keep criminals from causing further harm to the community.
Madam Chairperson,
Alderman Lysick.
I totally agree with the concept of the resolution. I think it's good. I will say this, we passed resolutions many times and sent them on to the state legislature, and it seems they get ignored all the time. But that, at least we go on record as being in support or opposed to something. And the most recent one I can think of is the big box stores, the tax loophole. And we and a lot of other municipalities sent resolutions to our state legislators, and it had no avail. It's still, they won't even act on it. It's still bottled up in a committee by the head of the Senate and the Assembly. So I know it's not going to have any major effect on them. My only problem with the resolution is the word demand. And I look at it and I say, if I was going up to my representative, Dan Reimer, or Joe Sanfilippo, who represents other areas of West Dallas, I would not go up there to them and say, I demand that you do this. I wouldn't do that. I'd say, Joe, Dan, you know, I'd urge you to vote for this, I'd urge you to support this, but I don't think you get a lot of results with the word demand. You get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And I would say, I would make a motion that we change the word demand to urge. And I would even say strongly urge if you want to put that in.
Madam
I just
Chair?
don't like the word demand.
Madam Chair?
Alderman
All
Stefanski?
right, this is kind of a twofold thing. When I brought this up last time, I was asked to come back and do a petition to the state. However, after thinking it over, discussing it with some people, working with Kale, I've also met with 2 state representatives, 1 state senator who's behind this, and I'm meeting with a 3rd state rep this next month to work on a petition to the state to change the law in the state. So this is more a local issue. This is to show the residents of the city that we're standing up for them. And that's why demand has been kept in it. Because if you're not forceful, they don't think you're serious. That's my opinion.
I disagree. I think you get your point across by, just as strongly by using language that is not offensive to someone and doesn't put them in a defensive position. When you start demanding things, I guess if you were to meet Joe Sanfilippo today, who's your state representative, would you say, Joe, I demand that you do this?
Absolutely, if that's something I felt strongly about.
I wouldn't. I would never say demand.
And I also
I'd
talked,
say I strongly urge you to. I would never say demand. And I don't think you'd appreciate if your constituents came up to you and said, Tracy, I demand that you do this.
I've had people do it already.
Well, maybe you have. I'm going to say you probably took that with a grain of salt. Just because someone demands something doesn't mean they're going to get it.
No, I investigate it, and then if it's something that's legitimate, then I do something about it.
And if
So-
someone asks you to do it, you have the same result. You investigate it, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's why I'm saying you get,
I will share that I've read the original resolution that I had to over 100 residents in the city of West Dallas. And every single one of them said, I agree with the word demand. Every single one of them. There was not one person that dissented from it.
I disagree with it. And if the word demand is in there, I will vote against it.
I would agree with Alderman Lysick. I also have a problem with the word demand. I would strongly support this if we reworded it to strongly advocate or strongly support. However, when we use the word demand, I agree with Alderman Lysick totally. It gives the connotation that you're making a forceful demanding something of someone.
That's right.
And basically, I think, as he has indicated, I think a softer way to go would be better. And that's my opinion.
Madam Chair. Yeah, myself, I
Alderman
mean,
Vitale.
I am really, in a way, like Alderman Lysak said, Tracy, that throughout the years, we always did send some resolution to the state legislators. And like I said, I support the idea of what you're proposing, to send a message to the people in Madison. But the fact the term, maybe could be attached to something maybe a little different, But either way, if the resolution has an questions of demand, it sounds more like you're kind of pushing something really hard, you know, like a hardliner, you know. And to me, I mean, but I support the idea. Don't get me wrong. I'll support that 100%. So if it could be an amendment placed to take that out and ask them to pursue something like that, you know, something legislative that you already been in contact, to me, that's a great idea. Whether they're gonna do anything about it, because within the jurisdictions of the state or federal government, still, I mean, those people, I mean, they don't have to listen, you know, maybe they listen, they read it, but then it's up to them to determine whether they will push for change some of those articles on the Constitution within our state or federally, you know? So we just, like I say, I mean, I don't want to use the term advocating or advising them, you know, to pursue something like that. So I don't know what's the best word to use on that resolution to not really get those people offended by it. See, the demand, I think, is some wording really, that really kind of hurts, you know. But like I said, I support your idea 100%. I do.
Well, for the record, I'm standing up for the residents of the city, my constituents, and I'm staying with the word demand in it.
Well, that's
Mr. Chair, Madam
that's
Chair.
right.
Alderman Me.
So what's the primary function that we're trying to accomplish with this resolution? The primary function is we want the state legislature and our county court system to be aware that we want to see greater action, right? So, and because this comes from the council, it needs to be the voice of the council, not just the voice of the person proposing it. I personally don't care if it says demands, I don't care if it says strongly urges, it doesn't matter much to me. But if it's gonna get us to a stronger vote of a 10-0 that sends a stronger message to the state legislature, it would make sense to compromise and do that word change if that's what people here are saying. The primary function here is we need the legislature to know that we want them to be serious about this. We want the county court system to know we're serious about it. Whether it says demands or strongly urge, it doesn't matter to me. But if it means more when it gets in the hands of these people for a 10-0 vote than a 7-3 or whatever else it's gonna be. So I really don't care either way on the word, but I think if we're gonna send a strong message, there has to be some compromise, and you're gonna want a 10-0 vote on this. And if that's what it's gonna take, then let's change the word.
I commend you, Alderman Stefanski. I think you're really going in the right direction, and I appreciate that you put it together for us. However, I think if we need all of the council members' support, I think we need to change the name, the demanding part. And I think that's perhaps, the goal you want.
The goal I
Is
want
to
is to represent the people and what they
Represent the
think.
people of West Allis, but you represent just a small portion,
Correct.
right? So
But I asked
basically,
100 people around the city just in one weekend.
okay, 100 is different than 61,000. I'm just saying that sometimes we have to compromise, as Alderman May has indicated, for the good of all the people of West Allis.
I'll bet you if you put this on a ballot, they'd say demand.
Madam Chair, it's semantics. It's semantics. Like I said, I don't care either way, but if it's gonna get us to a 10-0 vote and send a stronger message to the legislature, we have to do what's gonna give you this stronger message. This is where politics and
Madam
being
Chair.
a member of a board comes into play.
I mean,
We have to do the right thing.
Madam
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chair,
yeah, go ahead.
Alderman Lysick.
I just don't like us going and telling legislators that we have to work with and that we're going to be working with for years to come on a day-to-day basis, and going to them and demanding anything. You work with these people on a day-to-day basis. You don't go to your employees at work and say, I demand that you do something. You request that they do something. You urge them to do something. If it gets down to it and they don't do it, then you might demand, or you might fire them, or take disciplinary action. But when you approach somebody and you want something done, you don't demand that it's going to be done. And I just think that we're all human beings, and you treat human beings with respect. And to go around and say, I demand that you do this, is not treating someone with respect. I think the state legislators deserve our respect, whether I agree with their positions or not. They still deserve our respect, and I'm going to treat them with respect, and I'm going to urge them, or strongly urge them, I'm not going to demand them to do anything.
Madam Chair. Yeah, I would like to know sometime to refresh some of the situation that do arise in many parts of the world with a just system, you know. I believe myself that in USA, Wisconsin, any states within the 50 states, I think the court system is in many ways, even though many things we disagree that they're doing wrong, but at the same time, if you look and study and find out in many other parts of the world, the way the system that they run, first of all, it's corrupted, you know. I mean, if you got money, maybe you don't go to jail. I mean, in some way it happens maybe here occasionally once in a while, but still we have the best system in the world, the democratic process. You said when many parts of Europe that I know that for a fact, I can attest to that. The court system stinks. It takes 2 years for a person to get divorced, maybe take 5 years to get divorced. And that's one minus situation. It happens even with a murder. Sometimes it takes 5, 7, 10 years before they can process or charge that person because the bureaucracy here within 3, 4 months, 6 months, in many cases, sometimes it could longer, but the fact stands that in many cases, the system here is better, and I can say that loud, better than many parts of the world. I'm sorry that because I know, that's why I said early, I could attest to that, because I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
if I might suggest, why don't we take the motion with this as is? If someone wants to make a motion to change the word, we can take that up.
I've already
as
made a
separate-
motion.
He made
But no one seconded it. So what
Well,
I'm thinking, what this would do is allow Alderman Stefanski the chance to vote no against the word change, but still vote to the original spirit of I think you would at least like the opportunity. So with that, what I'd like to do is move approval of the resolution as written. So it needs a second.
Second.
And now if someone wants to make a motion to
Madam
make an
Chair,
amendment.
I move that we amend the words demand to strongly urge.
Second.
So we'll work on the amendment first. It's been moved and seconded that we change one of the words to strongly support
Strongly urge.
instead of the
That of
word
demand.
demand. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes.
So now
And on the motion as
motion.
Now,
amended.
on the motion as amended, it would read strongly supports instead of a demand. All those in favor of the
Aye.
motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
You voted against your own resolution because of a word?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Carried.
So then the cause doesn't matter to you, it's more a
No,
matter of
it's more a matter of
semantics.
semantics.
No, it's a matter of them
But
doing
you
something
voted
about it.
against, but you voted against the word. You made that, that's why I did it in this order, so you could vote against the word, but still
No.
get the intent of what you're trying to do.
The intent of what I'm trying to do is to make a statement for our residents, and
It makes the statement.
Just to clarify that as after the motion's been voted,
I understand.
make sure it's no need to discussion.
Yep. I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Goodness.